get to the hottest topics across the sports landscape, which includes the 7-7 and the UConn Huskies going on the road to defeat the Marquette Golden Eagles 74-67. You might say to yourself, yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. A higher-ranked team beating a lower-ranked team and the lower-ranked team without their best player. But this is the first time in almost a decade and a half that UConn went on the road here and defeated a ranked opponent as they handled their business yesterday, and also Big East champions as they head into the conference tournament. As we welcome in the radio audience, you're watching and listening live to the early line. It's Donnie and Davis here in the morning series. XM channel 159. All the radio affiliates are in here to hear Davis talk about those UConn Huskies.
I mean, UConn probably with some of those rotational injuries to Houston has an argument of being the number one team in the country. Obviously, a statement that we have heard echoed many times throughout the years. We'll see what ends up happening in the tournament, but a solid win for them here.
Yeah, I'm excited for UConn here moving forward, and obviously, most people should be. They're the favorites at the FanDuel Sportsbook at a 5-1 price to cut down the Nets in March Madness, but you got to win 6 games in a row. You can't lose any of those, and can they go back-to-back the first time since the Florida Gators in the mid-2000s? Let's take a look at another game in the SEC. Put a ring on it, baby. The Tennessee Volunteers, 66. The South Carolina Gamecocks, 59. Dalton Connect scores 26 points, as you saw them at the end of the game, parading around, pointing to the ring finger. Why? Because the SEC regular champions reside in Knoxville. Big time win for Tennessee as they lock up the SEC regular season championship here, Davis.
Yeah, I've got a long history with the Tennessee Volunteers men's basketball team. I pretty much bet on them. They're right around 20 to 25 to 1 to win the men's tournament every single year. They always look pretty good. The Rick Barnes' boys do in the advanced data. And they end up being one of the most disappointing teams in the tournament every single year. First, second round losses. They've never advanced past the regional semifinal. It's a bit brutal, but I am always glad to see them get their honors in the regular season.
No longer a football conference, apparently, as we have a lot of quality ranked opponents there in the SEC. We'll look forward to them next week as they head into March Madness with their conference tournament. But I'll tell you, last night, I thought it was riding high. The cover for the BYU Cougars last night, it came in 68-63 final. The Iowa State Cyclones with a big-time second half here and great defense. They scored 41 points. Talking about the Cyclones in the second half, only to 25 for BYU. On a BYU team total I loved yesterday, Davis, that's 68.5 points. They had 46 points on the board once we hit the 16-minute mark of the second half. You should cruise the victory. So I fell asleep, no problem at all. They'll get that easily. I woke up, they scored 63 points. Hilton Magic, the defense of the Iowa State Cyclones, which, by the way, is the best in the Big 12. Boy, they really put the clamps on BYU here, Davis, in the second half, overcoming a double-digit lead. Wow.
Yeah, the Iowa State defense is kind of insane. They're the second best adjusted defense in all of college basketball. They are fifth in all of college basketball in steals per game. They are way up there in turnovers generated per game. Like it really is something to behold. And I guess this is a formula that can work in the tournament. 3-point shooting is going to end up dictating so much of what happens, but a defense is going to travel better than shooting will in college basketball. That is like an absolute certainty.
Welcome to the NBA last night, Davis. Why? Because the Milwaukee Bucks were anticipating probably not having Giannis Antetokounmpo. He does play last night. They were getting 2.5 points. And the Milwaukee Bucks, one of the hottest teams in the NBA, going up against a team and the Golden State Warriors that got pounded by 50-plus points last time we saw them. So what happens in the NBA? 125-90. Not the Milwaukee Bucks. That's the Golden State Warriors easily dispatching of the Milwaukee Bucks last night in San Francisco.
The Golden State Warriors, don't look now. Not only are they eking out of the 9-10 play-in spots, which are the disaster ones where you have to win the 2 games in a row, they are now only 3 games back of getting to the 6th seed, Donnie, which would mean no play-in games at all. Draymond Green on his podcast the other day said, I think we are finally rounding into the shape to where we could win a championship again. And you know what? I do kind of believe him. I think if you were to look at the 2 old Lion teams, the Lakers or the Warriors, who are sitting there at 9-10 right now, I definitely think the Warriors are more ready to gear up and make a run in the postseason than the Lakers are.
And keep in mind also, the veteran teams do get that bonus in the playoffs because you're playing once every 3 to 4 days in that first round. So you could be rested, relaxing, and trying to win that series. We'll see where Golden State winds up if they're in the play-in or if they can actually get into the top 6 seeds here. I'll tell you one team that's fighting to get into the top 6 seeds. It's the Los Angeles Lakers. They were down last night at home against the Sacramento Kings, 130 to 120 final. If you take a look at some of the final numbers in the box score, LeBron James, 31 points. You had Rui Hachimura chipping in with 29, and they still lost by double digits. But questions arise here for the Lakers now. LeBron James on that ankle. Oh boy, doesn't look good down the stretch here, Davis.
Yeah, I took the Lakers last night. They were probably my favorite bet on the board last night. I did not really see this one coming. I thought Sabonis would have a horrible time against Anthony Davis. That is not what happened. Another triple-double for Domantas Sabonis. He really is. I mean, he's really something.
He is really something. Puts in that work each and every night, and sometimes that work doesn't even equate to victories. It did last night. Big-time road win for the Kings here. Let's move it over to the NFL. Zach Ertz signs a one-year deal with the Commanders. Davis, this should put the Commanders over the top in the NFC East, no?
I'll tell you what. I will be drafting Zach Ertz in fantasy football as the Logan Thomas replacement.
How about that? A little Logan Thomas action as he exits Zach. By the way, the interesting part about Zach Ertz, he was released last year, and everybody figured, he's just going to come home to Philadelphia for a playoff run. Nobody really picking him up, or he did actually get picked up but didn't play, and now he heads in the offseason and 1 year up to $5 million. Not bad work for Zach Ertz, a veteran tight end and a 2017 Super Bowl champion. I know you get this headline here. The NHL trade deadline. I don't even think it's here yet, technically, but a lot of moves yesterday, Davis, were made. Any thoughts on the deadline?
Tarasenko gets traded again. How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, have the mighty have fallen here. Do you want me to assess this entire trade deadline coming up soon? Let's sort of fade the public fall out there, which the public would love to see your boy DRS talking NHL action. Let's talk more basketball coming up next. Don't go anywhere. The Early Line.